Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video. Now welcome to a Challenger Spectate. So we've not done many of these yet this season, which I think is a good thing. We've been incredibly productive when it comes to the main account. It's going very well at the moment, which is fantastic. But the reason why you're getting one today is just, what I will say is you had a really good commentary as the first video of today. There's a really good commentary for tomorrow's first video. And generally, like, when it's a really good game, I want it to be the main video of the day, and they were the game after each other. So I kind of needed to separate those two by doing a Challenger Spectate. But that's not a bad thing. I do enjoy doing Challenger Spectates. And what we are doing today is we're watching MagiFelix. So MagiFelix is currently ranked 2 on EU West. It's all like, it's quite funny. The players that we've literally done Challenger Spectates for years, they're all in the top 10 right now in Challenger. MagiFelix is the guy that at one time had like 3 or 4 accounts, maybe even 5 accounts in Challenger on EU West at the same time. He's an incredibly good player, is a mid lane main, and he is playing KASSADIN. Now, what I wanted to kind of discover here is, one, is KASSADIN still KASSAWIN? And you probably might discover it's potentially yes, because the opponent is Victor. Now, Victor, arguably, even though I've not been playing it, I've just not been having personal success with Victor, so I've not been forcing myself to play him. He is arguably the best mid laner right now. He has okay early game, he's got okay lane bully, his scaling is insane, he's got good team fight, he's got one-shot potential. Victor has it all, but does he have what KASSADIN has? And what KASSADIN has is complete and utter domination to a certain point. Is we all know, like, the memes of get to level 16 on KASSADIN and you're going to take over the game. Now, with the way of League of Legends, is that earlier than it used to be? And the answer is yes. I can say that right now. There shouldn't be a spoiler to that, because think of the champions that I've told you guys to play and I've now been playing myself a bit. Kayle, Vladimir. These champions are in the same category as KASSADIN technically, and their strength has been brought forward, and so has KASSADIN's. Why? It's all to do with the item strength. Modern day League of Legends, you are like double the power, let's say, of what used to be with other items. Like, right now, I'd say when you have 2 items, let's say on a Vlad, a KASSADIN, Kayle, to feel the equivalency of strong from years ago, you probably needed 4 items to feel as relevant in the game, but that's just how strong these items are. And that is why the game itself has moved into a late game dominated game, a scaling champion game. It's very, very hard to play something like a Lucian or Draven or something like that, who are purely early game champions, because you do fall off so fast. So early game, obviously, you're just seeing a range versus melee, mega harass from the Victor. Is even running, by the way, Summon Aerie, and I would imagine the Summon Aerie is just for the added extra poke that you're just having on a KASSADIN, just added pressure, and yeah. Lee Sin ganking, though, I doubt this is a dead Victor in any regard unless he makes a big mistake, and he does. Wow, that is insane that KASSADIN got the kill. So that is, like, right there, a disastrous moment for Victor. Really smart by MagiFelix, by the way, to do what he did. If you didn't notice, very small. He E'd first, because that was guaranteed damage, he was in range, and then he Q'd, because then it didn't matter if the Victor flashed, the Q was already on the Victor. He would have done that on purpose because of that reasoning, and that's why he ended up getting the kill. So again, even though the farm is, you know, in Victor's favor, the pressure overall in the lane right now is in Victor's favor, KASSADIN's got a kill. If you look in the gold, 1,550, he is ahead of the Victor by 250 gold. That's good. That's the kill. One thing I also wanted to touch upon, by the way, while we're doing this commentary, I actually have already had a couple of people go, Huz, what do you think of this? It may be worth me making an actual topic on it, like a video about it, giving my overall thoughts. Let me know if you want me to do that as like a league discussion. We've not done one of those in a long time. But basically, North America is getting a super league for solo queue. And it's what it basically, NA is, you know, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but NA has always not been considered a very serious region. And there's a bigger reason for that when it comes to their solo queue, is because they've swapped the servers around different places here or there. Their servers, if I'm not mistaken, are located in California. But if you play on the other coast of America, if you play in New York, you're literally got 80 odd ping on your home North American server. Even if you live in mid-America, you've probably got 60 ping on your home American server. And that isn't very competitive. Even people in LA or the California area, they have pretty high lag. Like, they have 30, 40, 50 ping on their home server. Comparing to EU West, like, I have 8 ping, but if you play in Germany where all the pros live, they have less than 10. And if you compare that to Korea, they all play with 5 MS. When you go into the studio to play the games in the live studios, there's no lag. They have direct servers. So it's a bit hard for North America to compete when they're just not used to that like level of reaction timing and everything. There's no delay. So what they are doing to be a bit more serious, to try and make the server not as much of as a bit of a joke in some ways, they are making a Super League that you only qualify if you get approved. You have to apply to be in it. Like, you have to be a challenger player, probably, maybe Grandmaster. But you automatically, I think, qualify if you're a current pro, or you're an academy player, or you were a pro. So like an ex-pro, like Cutie Pie, for example, he could probably get in. But then you can apply just as a solo queue player, and you literally get approved or declined. They've already announced, and I will say, I was laughing a little bit last night, they've already announced one tricks are not going to be accepted because there's no point having a competitive server with one tricks, because if they get banned out, what's the point of them being on the server? So, and a lot of one tricks on Twitter when this was all announced were very angry. It's like, well, you're not competitive. Like, the opposite thing of competitive gaming is being a one trick. So, yeah. Anyway, big gank potentially coming in for KASSADIN. Unfortunately, Lee Sin takes the kill. I think it's fine. It was probably a guaranteed kill for KASSADIN, but I don't blame Lee Sin taking a kill. Lee Sin is kind of the weird dynamic of who do you want to give the kill to. Lee Sin getting a kill early game champion can help snowball the game more. Yes, he will fall off. Give it the kill to a KASSADIN, you're giving a late game hyper carry a kill early, getting him to late game status earlier. Who do you give it to? It's a bit of like a, tug of war, really. Both are a good option. Arguably, I would say it's better to give it to the KASSADIN because he will carry the game by himself. So, yeah. Worth noting, one thing I also kind of liked in this game, the comps. Red team has some very strong champions, and so does blue. Gravestop's a bit weird, but then there's Viego. Lee Sin is, I would say, in modern day League, a little bit weird, and Kha'Zix is arguably the best jungler in the game right now for solo queue, and Kha'Zix gets the dragon. That's pretty good for him. So like, there's probably an advantage when it comes to the jungle for a Kha'Zix as champions. Mid lane, you have arguably the best mid laner right now, Victor versus KASSADIN. Does KASSADIN still have the crown as the scariest mid laner if he gets going? And then bot lane, you have Zeri, who is a bit overpowered still, against Jhin, who is the staple good AD carry right now. And again, 2 enchanter supports just to help their AD carries out. So comp-wise, it's a very interesting dynamic. Both teams have got strengths and weaknesses. Both teams have got very strong champions in their comp. So by comp, it's not obvious who would win this game. Anyway, getting some control ward down there. They did see Kha'Zix below the river, or in the bottom side of the river, and he'll probably be around. The red has spawned. You can, by the way, slowly see a shift in mid lane. Remember the early game? KASSADIN was really behind in farm. He was getting poked out by a Victor. Well, now look at it, everybody. KASSADIN is winning in farm, and he is actively, in a weird way, poking the Victor down. It's changed. The dynamic of the lane has changed. And normally it wouldn't change this fast, and that's the point. This is the scary part of playing a late game champion like KASSADIN. If you do get a couple kills in the early game, it's disastrous. That's the thing. Anyway, big play for the enemy team. KASSADIN got the Lulu flash. Jhin is trying his best. Can he get a slow? He got one. And the double kill for Jhin. So that was a tower dive for for red team. They managed to kill the Soraka, but then Jhin ended up getting a kill. Oh my god, this Lee Sin literally just special deliveried. Okay, does get a kill, does the Victor. Lee Sin just special deliveried another kill to KASSADIN. So, really good early game for a KASSADIN. Yes, that did allow Victor to catch a little bit back up with farm, the KASSADIN going on a roam, but KASSADIN is still leading the farm at not even 10 minutes into the game. If I was Victor, I'd be very scared right now. And the funny thing is, the counter item to KASSADIN, like, some people are like, oh, maybe you have to build a crown. The thing with building a crown against KASSADIN is like, yes, eventually he'd be able to one combo one-shot you, and a crown, in theory, in those few seconds would save you. But then his rotation is literally, his ult's 4 seconds right now, his Q's 8, W's 5, E's 3. he'll just wait. He'll probably press Q to pop the crown. I think the effects last 1.5 or 3 seconds or something. He'll just wait and then kill you after. You can't get away from him. So crown isn't really a counter to Kassadin either. So this is the problem. And what I also say, any junglers watching this video, that was a weird laser. This, I think, is also right now a great advertisement. If you have, as I mentioned earlier, a Kassadin, a Kayle, a Vlad, something like that on your team, give them early pressure. Like, I know it's tempting to go to the lane that, like, your early game could snowball from with your early game champions, but if you snowball a late game champion in the early game, the game's practically over at that point. Like, it just is. Like, then these champions are not supposed to be strong early, so if you make them strong early, game GG, well played. Give me my LP, please. So yeah, that's what I would say. But obviously I will say, on the flip side of that, if you've got a Renekton top lane and, oh god, he's going even against a Camille, that's not a good situation either. So you probably might want to get the Renekton a little bit ahead, because that's the only chance the Renekton's going to get, is the early game to try and snowball before it's too late. Meanwhile, Lulu gets a solo kill on Soraka. That's a bit bizarre. Enemy team walking very forward, which they've got to be careful about. And Kassadin going for the open trade. Victor ults. Everfrost, by the way, with Kassadin, gets the nice, like, sleep. And then this Jhin, absolutely popping off, gets an ultimate kill on the Zeri by himself. So, you know, the enemy bot lane managed to kill the Soraka, well done. But then they overstay, and Jhin gets a kill on the Zeri for free, basically. It's like, it's a bit weird. It's very weird. I will say that I am recording this on current patch, so the patch has happened and the Zeri changes have come through. I am a little bit confused because I thought part of those changes was Zeri was trying to get rid of the Triforce build. Again, she's not supposed to build like a bruiser. That's kind of been the big problem with the champion. I think the guy that designed her has had many headaches going, what do I do? It's the problem with making a champion with a very strong kit. Surprise! Whoa, really good Everfrost gets the Victor. Look at the damage already, by the way. And doesn't get the kill. Why didn't Victor just run away? If honestly Victor just kept running away, there was a good chance that Victor might have lived. He went back in range of the E. Meanwhile, bot lane, by the way, they're just absolutely snowballing. And Graves, with the Soraka ulti, has to be said, gets a kill on Viego. But then he does obviously get killed by a Kha'Zix. But knowing that Kha'Zix is top lane, that should give Lee Sin the priority over the Dragon. So everything, again, the thing I want to make point clear is, like, good League of Legends play makes sense. Things aren't out of place. Everything just fits like a jigsaw, basically. Oh, jungler there, I'll do this. It all just works. Don't try to fight what the game is trying to give you. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, do that all the time, especially people that aren't flexible in their playstyle. If you've got one playstyle, you're like, no, I'm doing that 100% of the time, no matter what, you're going to struggle more than practically any other player. Like, a great example, I'm a top laner that I only split push. You are going to struggle a lot in solo queue because you need to be flexible. Not every game you can split push in. Some, sure, but not everyone you should. You need to be flexible about what the game is giving the options right now. Like, you know, it's crazy, but like, you know, Nasus players or something, Tryndamere players. Tryndamere can do great in a team fight. It's situational. Nasus can do great in a team fight. He could wither a target and that could make the AD carry die that you need to kill. It's all completely situational. Don't be set in just one playstyle, like, the end. That ain't good. Adapt to the game you're in. So, Graves has now gone bot lane, Jin's going top, so they're doing a bit of a switcheroo, and that's just a very classic thing to do when your bot lane's winning and you get the early tower, swap your AD carry to go get the top tower. Generally, again, a lot of people do still consider the AD carries as the primary carry of any comp. Really nice Lee Sin play. Victor in trouble, gets killed in one bang. Weird that the Victor, I will say, it does feel like he's a bit slow reaction, maybe. He had flash up, but didn't flash the Lee Sin play. If you flash the Lee Sin play, oh, good, you know, I had to blow flash, but you're not dead. Meanwhile, Graves going quite aggressive. Ults as well, doesn't get anything there, just apart from pressure. Jhin, let's have a little watch, because nothing's happening here. Gale Force by Jhin, survives for now. This could be a repeat of what we saw earlier, that the enemy bot lane overstay, and a Jhin ultimate might make the difference. One, misses, hits. If he hit one more on the Zeri, that would have been a dead Zeri, but watch now. They're overstaying, and here comes the Jaws himself, KASSAWIN. He's just going to go on the Lulu a bit, gets her ulti, knows Zeri is somewhere hiding. He just got a glimpse of the vision. We're only seeing the vision of blue team. She's in this bush. Kha'Zix's in the area. They do actually get a kill. KASSADIN, 1 kill. KASSADIN's got polymorphed. He doesn't have much mana, and that's a big problem with KASSADIN. If he doesn't have mana, his ultimate each cast goes up in mana cost. Yes, but it also goes up in damage, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Lee Sin in the area hits his Q. Doesn't go anything else yet, though. Is full health as the KASSADIN. Looking for the dive. This is very risky. Gets the big damage with the Gore Drinker healing, though, by Kha'Zix. Is just absolutely wrecking face. Oh my god, Lee Sin now going in, does get the kill, and goes down. Lulu double kill, 403 Lulu. That was absolutely nuts. And again, that is right there. I'd say a little bit of the problem with League, a little bit in some areas. That's an assassin buying a bruiser item, healing way more than they ever should, like, at all in design, but because they're buying a bruiser item. I still don't know why assassins are buying a bruiser item. Well, I do know. The reason why they're still buying a bruiser item is because they can still one-shot people with a bruiser build. That's the point. If, you know, as an assassin, oh, well, I don't one-shot people anymore because I'm not buying an assassin build, guess what? They'd start buying assassin builds again because that's their job. But the point that Kha'Zix, with a bruiser build, could jump on this Jhin and probably one-shot him even with this build, what's the negative? Why would you not do that? Like, there's no negative to building bruiser, so you're tankier, you have way more healing, and you still one-shot the vulnerable targets. What's the negative? There is no negative to that situation. That's part of the problem. But yeah, look at KASSADIN's mana use, by the way. So literally just getting back to lane and getting blue buff, he's nearly It's a mega problem that KASSADIN has always had. And what I would say about this MagiFelix play right now, and some people may even question it, teleport by KASSADIN going into top lane, no Tear of the Goddess. Meanwhile, teleport coming in, Kha'Zix does go down, which is nice. Good play by the Jhin and the KASSADIN and Lee Sin, to be fair. They do get a Soraka for that, but that, again, isn't really worth. Soraka is having a hard time surviving this match, but it's a Soraka. They generally do have a hard time surviving in modern-day League. KASSADIN, though, going to be with the Graves. They're going to go for the engage here. He is focusing the Lulu. Well, there's no, you know, why? Well, Graves could actually go get the kill there in mid, but it's the shutdown. The Lulu was worth more gold than the Victor in that kill. That's what KASSADIN wants to prioritize. And what I would say, as obviously, you know, we're watching... Oh, that's an overstaying Viego. We're in, like, dominating mode of KASSADIN. That's the point. Nothing has been too difficult for this KASSADIN so far this game. Like, there are quite a lot of... Like, this is, by the way, a 0-3 Viego. Look, if Soraka wasn't there... That would have been a lot closer, and that's just the strength of Viego. That's a feeding Viego nearly killing, pretty close, a fed KASSADIN. He got healed a bunch there, and Viego missed his ultimate. So, don't sleep on Viego ever. Like, Jesus Christ, that champion is strong. But yeah, obviously, it goes without saying, the only one that's having, well, two actually people that are having great games on the enemy team, the Kha'Zix and the Lulu are having fantastic games. They are being a little bit let down, however, by their teammates. Kha'Zix, though, this is where sometimes desperation does creep in. My team is doing god-awful. I need to make plays happen. Oh, the Soraka is kind of by herself. I'll go for her. And suddenly, she's not by herself. That is the desperation of my team's doing bad, I'm doing well, I have to try and make plays happen to carry, and it turns into a bigger negative. Lee Sin going for a big play there with the KASSADIN damage, Zeri ults and flashes away, Viego back alive, taking a bit of damage, not going to die though, and that if I was blue team, I would just back off and go do the dragon. After all, it is an infernal dragon, which is always nice. Anyway, re-engage is actually happening, believe it or not. Zeri's going to go down, lands the Lee Sin Q, really nice there. And the enemy team is on the back foot. MagiFelix was thinking about moving forward. Victor does teleport, by the way, down, so he's in the area, has ulted and W'd. Enemy team looking a bit, you know, back in the fight, but Viego goes down straight away. Lee Sin doing missing a Q. Jhin landing a really good W. Victor does flash. Again, this Victor has a big pattern of not flashing at the right time. I don't know why. Big shutdowns, though, coming for red team. So this is the overstay potentially backfiring. Meanwhile, though, really nice Everfrost. Oh my god, that's again the strength of itemism in modern day League. That whole play went well literally because of Everfrost. Lulu flashed over, Kha'Zix flashed over, and both of them got stunned or rooted, whatever the hell it is, rooted by an item. And that just completely stopped them and gave Jin and Kassadin free damage. And items stopped that happening. That's why I don't love the new items, is because it just depends what your philosophy is. I want champions to be why things happen, not items. That's what I would say. And before anybody says it's like, oh, it's not just the new items. Okay, a bit of desperation play by the Viego doing that teleport there. But it's not just the new items that, you know, I dislike. I've never loved Zhonya's. Zhonya's is a champion level mechanic on an item. GA is kind of the same thing. These things are what champions should be offering, not items. I just want items to be stats. Like, again, most people may completely disagree with me, and that is completely fine. But that's why I've not been a big fan of items having champion level mechanics, or, as we all have seen recently, dragons having champion level mechanics. Now, enemy team is doing a bit of a desperate play, and they are backing out of it. So they thought, oh, you know, the enemy blue team is going to go do the dragon. Viego's dead. Well, maybe we can sneak a Baron. And unfortunately, just a little bit of thought, if you just go, where's the enemy team? Baron. Like, it's a common thing to do if you are quite far behind. It's not a bad thing to do. It occasionally can work. Obviously, nowadays, you're even incentivized to do it with objective bounties. You'll make a lot of money if you get that Baron. So, yeah. Anyway, as you can see, the game has turned into kind of like a dominant performance by blue team. You know you're having a bad game when the enemy is just like walking in your territory without a care in the world. And that is part and parcel, I will say. Oh my god! Flash ulti straight on the Zeri. She's dead. And again, he can have the confidence to do this. Why? Well, he's got Zhonya's as well. So again, if he goes all in, oh god, I'm nearly dead. Zhonya's. By the time he comes out of Zhonya's, his ultimate will be back 100% and he can ult away. That's Kassadin. And by the way, he's not even at level 6 yet. We're nearly at level 16. He's level 15. Kha'Zix's looking a little bit, I don't know, this might not be good by Kha'Zix. Big damage by Kassadin already. Trying to ult away. Does get hit. Gets hit by the root, by the way, and he will go down. Lovely play by both Jin and Kassadin there. And yeah, like what I would say is we are watching a challenger game. Remember, this is high challenger EU West. Meanwhile, Viego is just split pushing. That is a tilted Viego, if I've ever seen one. But we are watching High Challenger EU West, which is always considered one of the best servers in the world. And it's a 12-1. Oh, he chose the wrong side. Viego went down. 12-1 Kassadin in the early game. You know, it's not late game. It's 22 minutes into the game. Kassadin's been fed for quite a while. This is modern day League, especially, as we've seen here, especially if your jungler plays a bit smart and actually puts time into the late game hyper carry. That's the point. Meanwhile, Kassadin walks in, one-shots the Lulu, gets exhausted by Zeri, he's just going to keep walking forward, and she's dead. Like, what do you do? Like, that's the point. What do you do? And that's going to be the game. 14-1-8 Kassadin, 183 farm. Complete and utter domination of a late game hyper carry. So is Kassadin still KASSAWIN? Yes, he is. Like, that's the point. Is why I might even, like, I've never enjoyed his playstyle perfectly. I might play a game of Kassadin in the next week or so and just see what it feels like. Maybe in Champ Select, ask my jungler, because obviously I don't use in-game chat, but go, hey, give me a couple ganks in the early game. You know, that's the thing. That's maybe something you should look to do if you're playing a late game champ like Kayle or Vlad or Kassadin. In Champ Select, say to the jungler, yo, wouldn't mind 1 or 2 ganks. If you get me kind of going, I'll win the game. I'll snowball the game as a late game hyper carry. That's not a bad idea. But there we go. What do you guys think of Kassadin? What do you think of like the new items? Do let me know in the comments. And also let me know, obviously, if you want me to do a League discussion episode focusing on the whole Super League NA thing, talking about it, what are my thoughts on it. Do I think it's overall going to help NA, or do I actually think it's going to hurt them? Because I will say, I actually think it's probably going to hurt them more than help them. And if you want that video for me to explain why, let me know in the comments. But do like the video, do throw a comment, subscribe if you've not. The channel is growing quite nicely at the moment, so thank you very much. If you are new, welcome. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Cool down!